Hey, welcome everybody to The Buzz. I'm Joe Davidson. We do this show every week. It's kind of a video podcast. We like to use our photographers and some video work to showcase some of our student athletes in this region. And we want to update everybody with what's going on, the themes and the trends. And we bring in our SAC-B running mates, Jim Patrick and Cameron Salerno, to talk about what they see and hear out there. And so high school basketball is going full bore. We're going to be in the playoffs. The Sac-Joaquin Section playoffs will start in a matter of weeks. Same with soccer. We'll talk to Jim Patrick about area soccer. Cameron and I will talk a lot about basketball, girls and guys, rankings, top players, rebounders, things like that. Football is still in the air. It's always in the air. We've got the NFL playoffs, certainly, but also letter of intent in the next couple of weeks will happen again, or it'll be the February signing period. Nick Saban was bouncing around town yesterday, stopped by Folsom High School, stopped by Grant and other places. Nick Saban certainly is the longtime great coach at Alabama. Cameron and I will talk about some recruits he might be looking at here in a little bit. High school hoops, I could just strongly recommend people, if you want to go and watch good games, the girls menu is full, lots of good teams up and down the region. Same with boys. I've seen the Kings. We don't see a lot of fundamentals and effort all the time there. You will see it in high school. That has not changed in the 30 years I've been doing this. It's worth the ticket. It's worth the drive wherever you're going to go. There's games every day during the week, including on the weekends. It's just outstanding basketball. Again, don't know if we're going to have any state championship teams. Maybe a little early for that, but good stuff. And the other thing that's fun about doing this job over the years is we get to see guys excel in high school and in college and then get into the NFL. And David Caraccio, our terrific producer, put together a cool little list here. So here's Jonah Williams, and he played at Folsom High School, maybe the greatest high school football player to come out of this area. That's pretty lofty, but that's the words of a lot of people who played against him, coached against him. He's the most dominant high school player I've seen around here. He had one tweet in high school, and that was when he's committed to the University of Alabama. That's how low-key he was, just a dominating force in the trenches, played all over, up and down the line, and then started 3 years at tackle at Alabama, first-round pick with the Cincinnati Bengals. He's in the AFC Championship game. How about that? The Bengals won their first playoff game in 30-something years. So how about that? And another lineman of note, Eric Armstead. He looks the part there on the right when he was at Pleasant Grove High School in the Elk Grove Unified, 6'8", played his entire senior year for Coach Joe Catalico with a bad shoulder. And Coach said, "Do you want to practice? You want to sit out?" And he gutted it out. And when they went to a section championship, people took him to task. Oh, he's not. He's hot. He's dogging it. He's overrated and all that. No, he's playing with a bad shoulder. Goes up to the University of Oregon, has a good career there, becomes a first-round pick. Big part of the 49ers now. He's also team captain, which tells and speaks of his impact. He's big in the community as well. All right, how about a skill player also with the 49ers? That's Brandon Ayuk, who's not local raised, but he did go to Sierra College out of a high school in Reno. Hooked up with Ben Noonan, his college coach at Sierra, and they battled at times. And he challenged Noonan. I want the ball, kick it. I want to be on kickoff returns and punt returns, and he did. And he made plays. Goes to Arizona State and has had some great moments for the 49ers. Trayvon Henderson was a great Grant defensive back receiver. I remember going to a Grant practice a few years ago when he was there, and a fun, free spirit, and he pointed at his calves, his lower leg muscles, and said, "Hey, these are going to get me in the NFL." He went to the University of Hawaii, and now he's with the Bengals. So when you see a guy with calves like that, maybe you think launching pad to the NFL. One more, Ross Dwelly, tight end for the 49ers, did not play his junior year of football at Oak Ridge because he wasn't sure if he wanted to do that. Maybe he was going to do baseball. People talked him into playing football his senior year. Good move, goes to the University of San Diego, has a great career there, and has been a pretty good player. Nice role players, had some starts for the 49ers, and he's looking to get back into the Super Bowl. So there we go. Neat to see guys who were so good back then and still doing great things now. It's hard to get a scholarship. It's even harder to get in the NFL. All right, one of the fun things we like to do on the show is we like to introduce you to players of note. And the tallest player of note, I think, is Jason Bliss of Ponderosa up in Shingle Springs. He's a 6'10" star. He could play in the high post. He could run the floor. He could block shots, a dunker, a shooter. Very impressive player. He's a 4.5 GPA. He's getting national recruiting interest, including from Stanford. Our Paul Kitagaki sat down with him the other day for a big story that we're working on in the Sacramento Bee.
What got me into basketball was probably when I was around 5 years old. My dad just got me a ball and a hoop, and I just fell in love with the sport. And then moving to California, I've known my coaches since around 4th grade, so we've been together for a long time. I mean, it's a strong relationship. Off the court, we joke around, we have a good time together, but on the court, it's all business, and we just get work done. I mean, I've taken some big criticism from him over the years, and it's only made me better. I was very uncoordinated. Actually, in 8th grade, I was just a skinny, gangly kid. Didn't make my AAU team's first team, and then that's when I decided to just put in more work and develop that coordination. And from then on out, it's just rising up, work my butt off, try always to help my teammates have that same mentality. It's amazing. It's great start to the senior year, 20-0, heading into our last 7 games before playoffs, and it's been amazing to be able to grow with these guys and to have these 20 straight wins. I've been playing with a lot of them since 6th grade, so we're a tight-knit group. I've been talking to University of San Francisco, St. Mary's, Utah State, and a lot of other D1s and D2s. So yeah, it's been a big, cool process.
I like the kid. He's a nice young man, and when he was in the 5th grade, his friend said that he couldn't even walk on the court without feeling like he's going to fall down. And he talked about being 20-0 there. Now 21-0. It's a school record winning streak. The 1994-ish team had a 20-game winning streak. So kudos to him. That's a team to look for, certainly in the Sac-Joaquin Section Division II playoffs with Grant and Elk Grove as well. So we'll break that down certainly in the coming weeks. Kudos to him. I'm going to run a chart here in the next week or so on the best 6'10" and taller guys we've had around here. And that includes Bill Cartwright and a lot of other guys. Some guys made the NFL or NBA rather. It's when you're big, you're supposed to be a good player, and it took him a while, and he settled in. So, all right, a guy who's a good player then, maybe not so much now, is Jim Patrick. He threw a football back.
I'm a little under 6'10", Joe.
Yeah, exactly. He's more into pickleball now, and good to see you, man. What's going on with you?
Well, I'm going to show off my calves here in a second because I want to. Maybe we can figure out together where I'm going,
where you went wrong. Yes.
Yeah, and where I've been, and kind of break it down and get, because I know people really, really want to see that. So that's why we're here, Joe, is to give people the content they deserve.
Well, like Cameron right now is doing push-ups, so he can kind of bulk up a little bit just so he can show us what he's got. But hey, one thing we appreciate about you, Jim, is you're a sports editor who rolls up his sleeves and maybe up his his pant legs to show off his calves. Sure. Yeah. And you said, hey, let's do a deep dive on boys soccer. There's some great tradition around here, some good programs, had players going on to the MLS. What have you seen in local boys soccer? You've seen a few teams, whether it's in the city, up in the foothills. Do you like what you see? And what's
it's been maybe 20 years. No, it hasn't been 20 years. It's been maybe 15 years since I've seen high school soccer. I've been covering the USL team in town, obviously, Sac Republic. I haven't seen a lot of high school soccer in this area. So I got out there not really knowing what to expect, Joe. Last time I covered games, what you would see is a team kick the ball 40 yards down the field and hope that the other team messed up somehow and gave up a turnover, and they ended up with essentially a fast break, right? Which is just low quality soccer. So what I've seen now is teams are building attacks and teams are physical, and I've seen some of the best. I've seen Davis play against Jesuit, longtime powerhouses, both of them. I've seen Whitney play Del Oro. That is 2 of the best teams in the SFL, and it's been a steep learning curve, and I'm just really thankful, Joe. The thing about the Sacramento area is people have been so gracious and thankful to have some attention and some coverage. It makes my job a lot easier when people are DMing me and emailing me with story tips and ideas and stuff. Hey, maybe you don't know about this and that kind of thing. So it's been a steep learning curve, but people have been great about it.
Well, and I think you appreciate the Whitney coach who will say, hey, I think we're the best team. And we like hearing coaches say that, because a lot of times high school coaches will sandbag, oh, we're not very good, don't rank us. But we like hearing from coaches who say, I think we've got the top team.
Well, and he says it lights a fire. The rankings light a fire under his team. Every time, his boys think they're the number 1 team in the area. And spoiler alert, they have yet to be ranked number 1 in the area. I'm not saying it can't happen, but you're a hater. You're a hater. Hey, I do it all because I'm biased.
Exactly. And you got an agenda. Let's call up those Sac B rankings. Jim Patrick did these. Jim, just go through some of your teams. You got Davis number 1, Whitney number 2. I think Davis and Jesuit are in the same league, Delta League. Yep. You were talking about the Sierra Foothill League, Whitney, Del Oro. are in that league. So you get teams, large schools, medium schools, small schools, some in the same league. It's a pretty good representation here. Pioneers.
Yeah, I tried to, reach out, and there's the teams to watch. Obviously, your McClatchy is always kind of knocking on the door around that 10 spot. They're very good, but they're not necessarily a top 10 team this year anyway. It's interesting, Joe, because of all the COVID mess and kids sitting out. I saw a Jesuit team play Davis in a very high level soccer game, but Jesuit was missing 7 players and Davis was missing 4 players. I can only go by the result of the game that I saw, which Davis won. So Davis is the number 1 team, but here comes Jesuit. I don't think they've lost since that game. Jesuit's been on fire lately. So here they come, storming back up the rankings. I think I had Jesuit as low as 6th. Whitney was as low. I think Whitney started the year 4th, and Whitney's moved up. And there's some key games. The biggest one is Davis and Jesuit next Tuesday. That's a huge game. I believe Whitney and Jesuit both have 4 games apiece heading into starting tonight. So in the next 8 days, they're playing 4 games. They play tonight, they play Saturday, they play Tuesday, they play Thursday of next week. And then we're into the playoffs, Joe. So it's a bunch of these teams. By the way, Joe, I just want to call attention. Look at these records. I mean, there's one unbeaten team that's 5th. And then there's, a bunch of 2-loss teams, a bunch of 1-loss teams. The playoffs are going to be wild. We're going to see some top-notch soccer, and these teams it's going to come to a head, and it's going to come to a head very quickly in the playoffs. I'm already fired up.
Is Whitney in Division 1 or Division 2, or do we know yet?
Oh, yeah. You would ask a technical question like that. I'll probably get it wrong, Joe. In my head, they're a D2 team, but I think they have the talent to be D1. I know. Yeah, that.
Absolutely. And Davis and Jesuit are Division 1. So some of these league showdowns may materialize into Sac-Joaquin Section playoff showdowns, and Davis and Jesuit have won a ton of blue banners. Whitney is not that old of a school up in Placer County. And, Jim, for decades and decades, boys soccer was a fall sport. And then, the CIF and the 10 sections, there was a push to get soccer all the seasons the same. Some teams in the Bay Area played in the winter, and some in the LA did it. If you want to get a NorCal regional or a state championship, so now they're all in the winter. Our coaches, it's been a mild winter, but a couple of years ago, I think when that first happened, it was just torrential rain. And what are we doing? Why do we do this? Well, it doesn't rain every winter around here.
Yeah, and of course that Delaware Whitney game I covered, it was misting in like 45. It wasn't. It's to me, Joe, it's no worse than playing high school football in mid-November. We've covered those games. I've got the electric hand warmer in my pocket, which is kind of a running joke.
You lived in Minnesota and Maine and Utah.
I'm broken. I've used all of that. Whatever cold weather ability has just gone. So the weather doesn't affect me that much, but I think it affects the stands. You look at the crowds, and that Delaware Whitney game was not well attended, and it might have been pretty well attended had it not been raining in 45. So I do kind of, and I think a lot of these games are being played, at 7 p.m., which is kind of a difficult time to want to be sitting outside. So it's a difficult time of year, but it's not. I don't know. They play football games, and the football games get thousands of people. So
exactly right. And kudos for some of these teams playing at night and on Saturdays. Find a way and good stuff. Jim, always good. I don't want to compare calf muscles here.
No, let's get Cam showing off his calf. I want to see. Oh God, come on, hang on.
There we go.
Oh no! I think I just broke my back.
Yeah, next week we do biceps. So Jim, always good. We'll see you soon, and we'll keep an eye on those soccer teams. And next week we'll showcase triceps or something.
I hope nobody makes a video clip of that. I know it's impossible.
I hope not.
Be good
to see you. Good to see you, Jim. All right. Let's get some sanity back in the show. Let's get Cameron Salerno on here. And there's we got to talk about the cat. So this cat is named Buttons, and he's Mr. Cool, and he's even got a Twitter account. What's his Twitter?
All right, it's an Instagram account, 916 Buttons. Go give it a follow. He has his Mike Bibby jersey on. I don't know if you can see it.
Incredible.
I'm gonna let him go, but
here you go. Yeah, he doesn't have Twitter. He's just an Instagram cat.
Yeah. No, he's only on Instagram. My girlfriend runs the account, so She
that's
gets her
you
social
know what?
media
In case you
experience.
forgot her name, it's Nikki. She's
Mhm.
a volleyball star. Sorry, Nikki, but hey, so I teased on it earlier, Cameron. That Nick Saban was in town yesterday. He doesn't just stop by to go check out the latest restaurant trends. I mean, he's a busy guy, so he was in the Bay Area looking at recruits. This is very common. So here comes the Alabama coach. He stopped by Grant High School. He stopped by Folsom. We know he was looking at it at Folsom. It's Rico Flores, the junior national recruit receiver, and then Walker Lyons, the junior recruit national recruit tight end, who just, I think, got an offer from Georgia. So yeah, the big time coaches do hit here. They do come by, and they've done it for a lot of years, and so it's kind of cool and gets people buzzing. But it's very common, and we got another signing day coming in the next week or so, and so be curious to see how many more people sign.
Yeah,
Bobby Pylan's going to sign from Rockland with Air Force, I believe. There's probably going to be a few more. We know there are, but we don't have a big list because a lot of them signed last month in the early signing period.
Yeah, I have two thoughts on that. The first one being that coaches come to Sacramento. And I thought was really interesting is when Folsom was playing the state championship game and they were prepping, Jay Harbaugh, who's the tight ends coach from Michigan, came by, and also the Ohio State tight end coach came by as well. And they were there at the same time and they were chatting. And I just thought it was pretty funny because they had just played each other a week before. And pretty much Michigan ended Ohio State season. So it's just interesting to see the coaches come by. The second thought I have is we got to talk about Nathaniel Hackett, who played football at UC Davis, just got the head coaching job with the Denver Broncos. And so I think that's going to be really cool. And it just shows that there is a local flavor and there's a local.
There is. Good job on Hackett. He's the son of Paul Hackett, who played at UC Davis, was a longtime NFL and high school coach, was with the 49ers when they won some Super Bowls. And the younger Hackett was the offensive coordinator for the Green Bay Packers, highly regarded by Aaron Rodgers. So he's now the Broncos coach. That's a good point. It's a pretty good tree out of UC Davis. UC Davis had Jim Soker, the College Hall of Fame coach, who coached up guys like Dan Hawkins, who coached at Boise State and then at Colorado, and now he's the coach at UC Davis. Chris Peterson played at UC Davis, coached Boise State, coached at Washington. So it's small school or not, or smaller. If you can play, you can play. And the one thing that the recruiters are looking for, like Nick Saban, they want to see what Rico Flores and Walker Lyons at Folsom, or the big lineman Noah at Grant. They want to see their grades too. You could be the best athlete in the world, Cameron, but if you do not have grades, you do not have transcripts, they will move on. Well, these guys all qualified. Otherwise, it's just a waste of time. So very cool. All right, we're in basketball season. Let's throw up some basketball rankings here. We're going to go in inverse order. So this is the bottom 20 for boys basketball. We got Oak Ridge, Whitney. Wood just lost to Vannon last night. Jesuit struggling a bit. I saw him on Friday, Cameron, against Sheldon. Sheldon won in the final seconds. Andre Stojakovic for Jesuit is a terrific 6'7" junior guard, all kinds of skills, kind of a young, inexperienced team. At this rate, they're not going to get in the playoffs. I think they will. Jesuit's in the Delta League that also includes Pleasant Grove. There's Oakmont, Placer, Lincoln, Liberty Ranch, Bella Vista. Cody Smith is a nice looking player for Liberty Ranch, 6'7", post player, big numbers, a lot of big stats, also a football star. So college recruiters like UC Davis was checking him out this week. So play multiple sports. It's good for you. Placer and Lincoln are in the same league as Ponderosa, which is running away with the league. Let's go with the top 10 now. Cameron, jump in if there's anything that you got a question about.
Yeah, I was going to just elaborate. If you go back to the first rankings, the 11 through 20,
there we go.
Some people might ask, how is Jesuit ranked 14th if they're 7-10? Well, I think they remind me a lot of the Whitney girls team, who has double digits losses as well, and they're ranked, I think, 13. And people might ask, how can they be ranked ahead of Pleasant Grove and Oakmont and Placer and Lincoln, Liberty Ranch, and Bella Vista, who all have a better record? Well, it's strength of schedule, and it's also, like Jim put it, if these two teams met on the court, who would probably win? Who knows? But it'd probably be Jesuit because they have a stronger team. And so you have to look at that when you're doing your rankings. And like I said, these rankings aren't standings, they're power rankings.
It's exactly
and it's based off that metric.
And Jesuits beating Pleasant Grove. No, that's exactly right. So here's Intercom. Ponderosa's now, these are records entering Monday. Ponderosa's now 21-0. Intercom's now 15-1. Grant, good looking team. I've seen them twice already. Those 2 losses for Grant were to Intercom. There will not be any rematches. Intercom's in Division 1. Grant's in Division 2. Elk Grove has a loss to Ponderosa. Elk Grove is unbeaten in the Delta League, including a last-minute win against Sheldon. Those 2 teams play Friday in Elk Grove. There should be a great crowd. Burbank, Folsom, Antelope, Rio-Americano, Capital Christian. Just a good collection. Antelope is playing Intercom tonight, so that's a good battle there. Folsom's of the Sierra Foothill League. So more good basketball, Cameron. And Burbank, I thought, was Division 2. It's going to be in Division 3, so that may be a title contender there. I think Rio-Americano is in Division 3. So in just a matter of weeks, my friend, we'll be in playoff mode.
See, I thought Grant was in Division 2, and I mean, if you look at that, I mean, 1, 2, 3 would be Division 2. Elk Grove, if they win the Delta League, obviously they'd be Division 1. Burbank, like you said, Division 3. Folsom, Division 1. Antelope, Division 3, probably. Rio-Americano and Capital Christian are both probably Division 3 teams as well. So actually, really balanced.
Christian will probably be Division 1. It's been.
Oh, you are right. Yes.
Yeah, but it is a little confusing. No, you're right. And excellent point, Cameron. I was pegging Elk Grove Thundering Herd to be in Division 2. They've been in Division 2 in recent years, but if the Thundering Herd win the Delta League and they're unbeaten in the league, it's a Division 1 league, so they would go Division 1. So that's going to be real interesting. So all right, so last week, Cameron, we put together a chart of the leading scorers in the area thanks to our friends from Max Preps. These stats are inputted by the coaches or the stat keepers, so if they're not in there, it's on that school. So here's Leo Wagner. We've talked about him, Cameron. He's a senior, all-time school leading rebounder and career scorer. He's about 6'6". Aaron Bliss, we just got to meet him, 6'10", so he's bringing down a lot of rebounds. Also averages about 20 points. Caleb Byers of Forest Hill. Hey, we love the small school guys. Harrison Alexander, Bear River, another small school guy. Hayden Stapleton, Woodland Christian, another small school guy. So the thing that's great about basketball and rebound, doesn't matter if you're a large school, small, or whatever. If you're banging on the boards, you're going to make these lists.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. Let's go to the girls list now because I know there's some familiar faces from last week with Audrey Harris from Faith Christian, 13.7 rebounds a game. She also averages over 44 points a game. So
how about that?
Pretty incredible numbers.
Good thing she makes the bus every time they travel. Otherwise, they'd be, where's Audrey? So Mary Carter, we talked about her. She was a transfer from where? I can't remember.
She was at Rockland. Now she's transferred to Antelope.
Okay, I got you. And then there's a girl from Encina, Anari, and Tessa Schouten. This is how old I am, Cameron. I think her dad played at Dixon some 25 years ago. So, it's neat to see the sons of players that we've covered years ago playing. It's neat to see. Sometimes they go back to the old school. Sometimes they're nearby. So there we go. Kiana Brown of Natomas, almost 17 rebounds a game.
Incredible. I have a story about Audrey Harris too, which is
yes, let's hear it.
Ironic. So I had someone tell me if anybody has seen the Saturday Night Live segment with the Sacramento Kings, how they needed replacement players to play because of people had COVID and such. That's kind of how Faith Christian is. They need some players to even sometimes play just so they can play in the game because they don't have enough like actual players on the roster to even participate in the game.
How about that?
They sometimes take people just to be able to play. So it's pretty incredible that, I mean, she's pretty much a one-person show. I think they scored like 50 points and she scored like 46 of them. So it's pretty incredible.
Yeah. No, it is. All right, let's take a look at our girls basketball rankings. Cameron does these every week. You have the floor, sir. Who won the Bear River Colfax Big Showdown girls game this week?
I think it was Colfax. I'm pretty sure if my memory serves me right. I know our good friend Nick covered that game. So I mean, it's pretty interesting. Kind of like I said, you might look at it and say, why is Whitney ranked 13th when they're 12-11? Well, they played a really tough preseason schedule, and they also played in probably the toughest conference in Northern California in the Sierra Foothill League. Every single team is ranked in the top 14 in our area. So, it's pretty interesting. And then you have, obviously, Bear River, who is 15-0. Obviously,
15-1 now because Colfax won 46-26. I just looked it up. These records are entering the week, so that's a big showdown of traditional powers.
The perfect amount of spice. I call it Jack's Spice Squad. Who's in the squad?
No, that's my Max Preps thing with a video there. So All right, there you go. And you were talking about Whitney and Granite Bay, also in the Sierra Foothill League. Same with Rockland. Let's take a look at the top of the rankings here, and Cameron does every week. So Folsom has a loss, but then got a big win. Who was the loss to, and who was the big win against?
They lost to Archbishop Mitty, who is the standard of girls basketball, in my opinion, in Northern California. The dominance they've had over the last years, it's been incredible. They had a nice bounce back win over Salesian, who's a top 5 team in Northern California, arguably. So they also beat Oak Ridge.
And kudos, Cameron. Kudos to Folsom. Folsom needs to play these kind of teams because they're so impressive. And if you're going to make a section championship run, which includes St. Mary's of Stockton, another national power, you got to take on these teams like Salesian and Mitty. And there's no shame in losing to a Mitty, which devours everybody. It's how you respond. So your top 3 teams here are Folsom, Oak Ridge, Delaware, all of the Sierra Foothill League. So we got some good matchups coming up. We talk about this every week. McClatchy, Laguna, and Grant are all in the Metro League. Van and Christian, you saw Christian Brothers the other day, kind of a neat family hook there.
Yeah, they're a dominant team. They beat Rio Americano 54-11. And so, like I said, the head coach and the daughter is on the team, which is awesome. I mean, she talked about how cool it is to have her daughter on the team. That'd be Kaya Foster. And
yeah,
so
Shannon Foster is the coach, and she was a star. Well, not a star player, but a very good player for Christian Brothers a generation ago. So here she is coaching, and she's got her brother on the bench. And Larry Hicks is her father, used to be a longtime Sacramento Bee editor and assistant sports editor, just a good guy. He's so proud. He was probably coaching, in the bleachers and everything. So that's kind of a neat thing. But their Christian Brothers is good again, huh?
Yeah, it's going to be a really interesting battle between them and Vista Lago. I know during the spring, Vista Lago beat Christian Brothers twice. And so even coach told me after the game that their goal is to beat Vista this year. I mean, they know if they are going to win the league title, they're going to have to play Vista. And I think they play them next week. So it should be a really interesting matchup. It's good basketball in the area, like you said. It's definitely better than the team in purple and black playing in downtown Sacramento.
It is. There is, and you've seen some girls' games. I've seen some girls' games. And when I saw Folsom and Laguna a month ago, and I was so impressed with all starters for both sides can handle the ball and the skill set and the effort. It's just such good girls basketball. And what's great about your rankings, here's Folsom with nearly 3,000 students. And you got Colfax with about 550 students. So totally large school to the smaller schools. And it's good to see. And Vannon's a team that just kind of lurks and it's been around over in the Fairfield area. It's won NorCal championships, won section championships. And that's a family affair too. We got husband and wife coaching, and so they're doing some good things. Are you going to check out a game this week? What's your plan?
We will see. I just started school and I'm taking 20 units, so I'm kind of drowning in homework.
It's not enough.
Yeah.
And I know you're a big 49er fan, and you're yelling at your TV the other day, and you'll be yelling at it on Sunday. So we'll see how that goes too. So
yeah,
Cameron,
give a prediction for the game, Joe.
I'm going to go. I think the 49ers will win. I think it's going to be a slugfest. So I'm going to go 21-20.
I'm going to go 31-24 Niners. I think they win a high-scoring game.
And who cares what you say? Who cares what I say? What's the cat say? What's Button say?
Button's actually. It's funny you say that. My mom got him a Jimmy Garoppolo kids shirt, and so he wore it, and it was pretty funny. He wore it.
You guys slapped it on him and said, "Walk around and look happy." Yes.
Yeah.
All right, we'll see you soon. That's it for us. We appreciate the behind the scenes guys, Jim Silva, David Caraccio, helping us put this all together. Special thanks to Paul Gitagaki, who did a nice video of Aaron Bliss, the Ponderosa star. If you missed any of this show, it links later, including previous shows. Thanks to Jim Patrick and Cameron Salerno, and we will see everybody next week. Keep tuned in every week for the buzz. Check us out on social media. We have stuff on sacb.com almost every day because we appreciate this great region of local sports. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you soon.